What's up, guys? The Toyota Sequoia has always been a pretty competitive truck in its full-size SUV market because I think it's sort of the bread and butter, at least one of them, of Toyota SUVs. It's bigger than the 4Runner and Highlander, but smaller just a little bit, or more agile, I'd say, than the Land Cruiser. Let's get up close and personal with this all-new 2018 Sequoia Platinum. So, starting off, the exterior color of this particular Sequoia is called Blizzard Pearl. In my opinion, I like a lot of white cars, so this truck looks pretty good to me. It's a really pretty looking truck, especially with what Toyota's done with the new slight refresh for this model year. So, starting off on the outside, since we're already here, Toyota refreshed the front end with these pretty nice looking LED headlights. They're full LEDs, so you have LED daytime running lights, LED turn signals, and LED low and high beams, and LED fog lights as well. So it's a pretty nice looking unit. And the front end, the grille is all new. It looks sort of similar. The whole vehicle looks pretty similar to the last body style, well, the last pre-refresh model, but it's just enough to look pretty different. But I was hoping for a full refresh for 2018, but this is what we have so far, and I'm looking forward to what Toyota has to come in the upcoming years. Anyways, looking at the wheels, you have 20-inch alloys wrapped around all-season tires, and this particular model has running boards as standard, I'm pretty sure, and they're body colored on the sides. And looking at the mirrors, you have chrome caps on them on the Platinum. They are power folding and heated, and you do have turn signal indicators on them right there, and you do have the blind spot monitor system. You have big chrome door handles. These door handles are huge. I think this is the biggest car that I've reviewed. Anyways, coming around the back, you have pretty much the same looking rear end as the pre-refresh model. Toyota did color the outside of the taillights in a dark tint. Looks good. Like, this truck, I think it looked good. It's getting a little dated, or it is pretty already dated, in my opinion, and just what most other people think, but it still looks pretty good for being a 10-year-old design. Looking directly behind the Sequoia, you have all your towing kit. You have about a 7,400 pound towing capacity. I don't remember what the tongue weight is, but they're all the plugs for different lights and stuff like that. I'm not really a trailer person, so I'm not 100% sure on what everything does, but I know that plugs in the lights and all electrical and stuff like that. Anyways, let's check on the inside and see how Toyota's done and if they've done anything new for 2018. So first, what really surprised me when I pulled the key out for this thing, you don't have push button start, and it's 2018, and I'm pretty sure everything else in its competition, if it'll focus, I'm pretty sure everything else in its competition has push button start. That's not a huge deal because a lot of people don't like it, but it's just a little surprising to me. But you know, you have the lock, unlock, trunk release, and panic button there, so you know, to unlock it, it'll beep twice. Open the door. So checking out the seats, you have a saddle brown leather interior. They are heated and cooled. They are perforated as well. And you have a 10-way power driver's seat and an 8-way power passenger seat. And the steering wheel is power adjustable. I'm surprised it's not heated because when I first started this up, it was pretty cold and the steering wheel was pretty like ice cold. So I was looking for the button and I don't see that anywhere. So if you guys know if this thing has a heated steering wheel, standard, or just as an option, let me know in the comments below because I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyways, let's keep going on. Looking at the door panel, it's all soft touch material up top here. You have a little storage compartment here to put your wallet or whatever you'd put in there. The driver and passenger side windows are automatic. You have some wood trim here. It looks sort of fake, but like plastic. Anyways, up here you have 2-person memory for your driver's seat. There's a big door handle for the inside too. This is a nice feeling plastic down here. You have the JBL premium audio system on the Platinum. You have 2 bottle holders here and some storage down there. And I'm really digging the color, like the brown and black interior combination. That's one of my favorite combinations for any car's interior. So definitely a plus on that for this particular one that I have. So getting inside of the Sequoia, you have a pretty high step-in height, which is expected for something this large. And the running boards actually come in handy, and you have a little grab handle up here to help you up. I was just looking for a handle up here, but you don't have one, I guess, since you have this one. Anyways, my first impressions of this interior, it's really dated. This reminds me of when this body style, the 2nd gen Sequoia, first came out. It just looks very similar to everything else that's been done by Toyota. They did replace the steering wheel a few years ago, and they did add a few little things here and there, but the head unit and stuff like that is pretty dated. Just the overall design of the interior, I'll talk about that in a second. Let's get on inside. So getting on inside, it's not too hard. I'm about 5'8", 5'9", so it's not too hard to get in here. But when you close the door, nice solid thud, feels like you're in a truck. Anyways, to start it, since it's not push button start, you just put the key in like any other car. That's right there, and then power steering wheel, and then so what you're hearing is Toyota's 5.7 liter V8, same one in the Tundra. And first off, some safety stuff isn't working for some reason. I have no idea why. Anyways, looking at the gauges, since we're already there, you have the tach on the left, the information screen in the center, the oil temperature gauge on the top left, the engine temperature, the coolant temperature gauge on the bottom left, the voltage meter on the top right, and the fuel gauge on the bottom right. And on the right side of everything, you have your speedometer. And I really don't know why the driver assist systems aren't working right now. Anyways, looking at the steering wheel, you have a 4-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel with wood trim on the top. It's really grippy. I like that because the leather on the wheel is sort of slippery to the hand, so it's nice to be able to firmly grasp it.
Firmly grasp it!
SpongeBob pun. But it's nice. Anyways, the horn's good. Now looking at the left side of the wheel, you have your volume and audio controls here. So this controls your sources, the up and down arrows. The volume is right here, voice command, mode, your Bluetooth phone buttons to pick up and hang up. And on the right side of the wheel, you have all your multi-information display buttons to control that. I'll go over that in a second. And down here, this just controls more of the stuff on the information screen. Down here, you have your adaptive cruise control button and your lane keep assist button. And behind that, you have Toyota's ancient, but still great, cruise control stock. I'm happy that they still use it because it works fine. And they've been using it for a long time. Anyways, on the left side of the wheel, you have your mirror controls here, and they are power folding. Pretty quick. Both of them fold at the same time. And over here you have your door light controls, and you have automatic high beams, and there's your power tailgate button. And you have more of that brown trim here. This is somewhere I'd put my phone or something down there. And you have a parking brake that you push down like that. And over here you have your light stock, and over here you have your wiper controls. They aren't automatic. So looking at the information display, like I said, you control it with these buttons. So let's hit the back button here. So this is just your general information, and then that thing keeps popping up, but just shows general information like fuel economy, timer and distance and stuff like that, all those different kinds of things. Like it has an attention monitor. If you go over here, it shows the compass and navigation, audio, driver assistance, and cruise control. They're the warnings, so that's one of the warnings right there, and the settings. Now looking at the center, this is where it really gets dated. This head unit, I think it looks like a 6-inch display. It is touchscreen. It is touchscreen and it's pretty responsive. Like, it's pretty quick, but it's really old and really small and really out of date because other cars in its segment, like the Tahoe and stuff like that, are coming out with 8 or bigger touchscreen displays that have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, the dash it's like a weird plastic. It's not soft, but it doesn't feel like a hard touch plastic like something on the dash, but it's okay. There's one of your speakers right here, and looking at the glove box, you have 2. This is a little one up here, and then down here you have the bigger one, which you can fit your manuals and stuff like that. Pretty nice. But looking at the head unit, this is the home screen, so it's a 2-screen layout. If you hit audio, you can control all your different sources on the top left. This is using Toyota's old Entune system, but audio and then apps through Entune. There's your volume and tuning knob, and this goes to your phone system for the Bluetooth. There's the seek forward and backward button, and right there is where you'd put in the map card for the navigation. So if you go into the navigation, I mean, the touchscreen is actually not that bad. It's just small and it just looks out of date. It looks almost like an aftermarket unit, like something in an '07 4Runner that they did when the sport model was out. Anyways, down here you have dual zone climate control for the front and single zone for the back, so 3 zones pretty much. So there's the driver temperature and the passenger temperature, and to control the rear, it's right here. You have heated and ventilated driver's seats. The rear seats are heated. You have a little aux port and a USB port down here, and over here is the fan speed and all the different AC controls for the heat and AC down there. Right here is the 4-wheel drive select. So this is 2-wheel drive right now. You can put it in 4 high and then push it down and turn it for 4 low. Down here, you have all your different drive settings like tow haul mode, center diff lock. This controls the air suspension because it does go up and down. I think that's pretty cool. I'll play a clip of that right now. And then down here, you have more adjustable suspension controls. So you have comfort, normal, and sport. I don't know who'd put it in sport. That just makes everything stiff and bumpy. There is just a manual control, because if you leave it on auto, it'll go up and down whenever the car thinks it should. Now over here, you have a 6-speed automatic transmission, which is selectable, and when you put the car into reverse, you have a backup camera just with one single view, and the lines don't steer with the wheel. But you have a sport mode that you can put it in. I don't know who would use it, but you click up to upshift and down to downshift. It's a pretty big shifter. Reminds me of an old LS, how big that shifter was. Looks like something inappropriate.
Yeah, me.
But this, I've seen this in a lot of cars. I don't know what that is. Let me know what that thing is. But you have 2 power outlets right here, a little place to put your phone or something that wasn't a voice crack. You have 2 big cup holders behind here. This is just the garage key, and just a lot of places to put your phone. And you have a small cup holder behind here. Now, looking at the center console, it's ginormous. First off, you have a soft touch leather armrest, which is pretty nice feeling with stitching here, but opening it up, it reveals a bunch of different compartments. You could put business cards here, pens, and all kinds of stuff. But looking down here, goes back pretty far. You have another power outlet right there and a bunch of storage. This is removable, so you could fit a purse or something or a work bag or anything in here. You have, what is this? I've never seen this in a Toyota before. There's somewhere to put business cards or something. I guess it's a little business pouch that comes with the car. That's pretty nice. You have 3 garage door home link and a compass on the right, and it is auto dimming. And up here you have a place to put sunglasses and a little conversation mirror that some minivans and other full-size vehicles have. Over here are the sunroof controls, so you tilt it with this button and it is one touch sliding for the open. It's not panoramic or anything like that, so you just open it like that. and then the shade is manual with it. Almost forgot to show you these 3 buttons here. This button is for the parking sensors, this is the traction control off button, and this controls the ancient, well, rare I'd say, rear window that folds down. Well, it slides down, like the 4Runners. I really like that Toyota's kept that for the new Sequoia, and I hope they keep that for the new 4Runner when they redesign that too. Anyways, let's check out the rear seats. So coming to the back seats, you still have that same saddle brown interior color and perforated seats for the back. And if you have a child seat, if you have babies or anything, the latches are right here. Just flip this thing over and they're in those little holes right there. So that's pretty nice and simple to use. These seats do slide forwards and backwards. I'll show that in a second. And they do recline as well. Looking at the door panel, you have sunshades for the rear passengers. There's that big door handle again. There's more of that wood trim. You have more of that soft touch material up here and down here, and 2 bottle holders again over here, and some storage down there, and another one of your JBL speakers. Now this reclines the seat, and this helps you get into the 3rd row, which I'll do in a second. But anyways, let's just get inside. And this driver's seat is all the way back in its tracks, and I have about 4 inches of legroom, so that's really nice. And you have map pockets on both sides of the seat here. And looking at the middle, you have all your climate control settings for the rear seats. This is the temperature, the fan speeds right here. It is automatic as well. There are your video inputs right here because it has rear entertainment. There's a 120 volt power outlet, and here are just some external headphone volume controls down there. Right here is just a place for cup holders, and this, you could use it as storage too. It's a nice touch that Toyota did that. And behind that you have 2 more cup holders. It's a really nice touch. And there are the heated seat controls. They are 2-stage. You also have some more storage back here as well. And I like that on the 2nd row, which is 2 captain's chairs, and then the back is 3 seats, you have a Sequoia emblem. It looks really nice. I really like that. But when you open up the center console, sort of surprised to say that this is all you get, because it just looks like you could fit a lot more stuff down there. But anyways, it's still nice space as you have this little removable center divider. You could put DVDs or phones or whatever in here, or even an iPad. But looking up here, you have your rear entertainment system, so the screen just folds down here, and you can pop in your DVD or Blu-ray up here too. There's just more dome lights, and you can plop in an SD card up here if you have a movie on that, so that's pretty nice. And I think if you really wanted to, you could plug in a gaming console through the through the power outlet and the video inputs with it, but it doesn't have an HDMI port. But if you really want to, you could play Fortnite while your parents are driving.
No! No!
Anyways, let's check out the 3rd row. To get to the 3rd row, you just pull this lever. The seat folds forward and slides forward. You have really good access to the 3rd row too. Toyota did a good job on that. And you have this grab handle and this side step, so you just can climb up in here. And it's not too cramped to get into the back. And when you slide the seat back, which the whole process isn't hard at all, this seat is all the way back in its tracks, and you can slide these seats forward and backwards. But since this seat is all the way back, I have about 2 inches of legroom, and my feet can fit under the seat pretty comfortably. And over here, this is where you can put more stuff. So I don't know why they did that. I guess this is the 3rd row storage, but you have more storage down there. You could fit whatever you'd put in there. So that's something interesting to know. Over here, you have power folding 3rd row seats. So they are power reclining. So that's pretty cool. So if you just press that, folds back. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And it's on both sides too. It's a 60-40 split rear seat. And this is where you'd kick to push your way out of the 3rd row. Anyways, over here, you have both of your wireless DVD headsets, and your radio, your remote is right there too. And over here, you have pretty decently sized bottle holders in the back. and you have some more storage on both sides too. And I also like that you have third row sunshades as well that cover the whole window. So let's check out the trunk of the Sequoia. So to get in the trunk of the Sequoia, you can either press and hold the button on the key fob, press and hold the button inside the car, or just open it up here. It doesn't open power by the hatch outside, but it closes with power. Anyways, behind the third row, you have 19 cubic feet of volume. Behind the second row, with the third row folded, you have 66 cubic feet of volume. And with the second and third row folded, you have 120 cubic feet of volume. That's pretty big. And I'm not so sure how that compares to other cars in its class, but in my opinion, I think that's pretty good. Anyways, you have some bag holders on both sides here, and if you had a tonneau cover, that's where it would go into. You have a power outlet. Underneath these rubber mats, you just have a little bit of storage over here, and then the spare tire is underneath the truck. But to close the lift gate, you just press and hold the button here. It'll beep to warn you. It's really slow like other Toyotas, but it does close. So under the pretty massive hood, the hood latch is right here. The hood's actually pretty nice to open, pretty light. I think it might be aluminum, I'm not sure. But anyways, under the hood you have a 5.7 liter 32 valve dual overhead cam V8 that makes 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque. Toyota's been using this engine for about 10 years, ever since the second gen Sequoia came out. So I think it's definitely time for a refresh in the engine department, but especially because for fuel economy, this thing makes 13 miles per gallon in the city, 17 on the highway, and a combined of 14. There's other trucks in this segment that get mid-20s, I'm pretty sure, so this thing is well overdue for an engine refresh. But this thing is a very strong and reliable engine, as it does tow up to 7,400 pounds, properly equipped, so it's a pretty good engine. Anyways, let's hear how this thing sounds. I think that sounds pretty good. So let's take this thing out for a spin and see how it drives. I've been driving this Sequoia for about half hour right now so far, and I am pretty impressed with how this thing drives. In parking lots, it's actually pretty smooth. Like but the steering, I'm going on around a corner right now. It's really smooth. In comfort mode, you don't feel any bumps or anything. You don't really feel any bumps with this thing normally, so that's nice. There's a G-Wagon next to me. But let's see how the acceleration is. Pretty good, pretty good. This 5.7 liter, it's old, but it still has some kick to it. It doesn't really kick you back in your seat like a sports car, and that was in comfort mode, but it shouldn't. This thing does what it's meant to do. It's just a nice, smooth, sort of off-road alternative to something like a Yukon, like that's passing me, or a Tahoe or a Suburban. So The steering wheel is nice and big and firm, so it feels really nice. The brakes and everything just feels really good overall. I have nothing bad to say about how this thing drives. Like, the steering might be a little loose sort of all the time, but I guess that's something that you could deal with. Let's see how the acceleration here is on this little straight. I mean, it gets up and goes. Like, don't get me wrong, this thing gets up and goes. So around the corners where I am, there's not too many tight corners nearby, but this thing handles pretty nicely on them. I'm not that big of a fan myself of huge things like this. I like being nice and nimble, like, you know, like my Accord or other smaller cars. But if I was in the market for something this size, I would look into it, but I think I would personally skip it for, wow, that camera's shaking a lot. But I think I would personally skip it for something like a Tahoe or a Yukon, or even the new Expedition, just because this interior is sort of dated. Everything about this is dated. I'm just waiting for what Toyota does, when or if they refresh this thing, and hopefully they do, because I really like the Sequoia, and I know a lot of people that are in that full-size SUV market that don't want a Highlander because it's sort of momish. Now, right now, I'm at about 65 miles an hour, and I'm in normal mode right now on the suspension setting. It's not too bad. Like, it's a little, it feels like any other full-size SUV, but if I put it into comfort, not that big of a difference. You sort of feel a little bit, but in sport, it definitely stiffens up in sport mode. Well, sport suspension mode. But I'm at 70 miles an hour, and there's not that much road noise, but there is a fair amount of wind noise. Passing power. It's alright. Handling, I'm on this sort of tight corner. The steering feels very loose. You don't feel anything, and it rolls, and you sort of roll in your seat a lot. One thing you have to get used to if you're coming from something like a Highlander or something mid-sized is the width. Just the sheer size of this thing. Parking is a whole new adventure. It's not terrible because it has backup camera, just one backup camera, and parking sensors and stuff like that. Going over these potholes, it feels pretty solid. That's one thing I noticed about transmissions for Toyotas. Most of them, I drove a Sienna the other time, and these transmissions lag. They lag a little bit. Like, when you let off after accelerating, it lags. It holds the revs for a little bit. That's one thing. I don't know if anyone else has noticed it, but I've noticed it in a few other Toyotas, like the Sienna with the 6-speed.
So talking about trim levels, first the Sequoia starts at the SR5, which is $51,625. Then there's the TRD Sport, which is $54,240. Then the Limited, which is $60,120. Then the Platinum, which is $67,335. And four-wheel drive is standard. Now about competition, it would first start with short wheelbase full-size SUVs like the Chevy Tahoe, Ford Expedition, GMC Yukon, and the Infiniti QX80. So I hope you all enjoyed getting up close and personal with the all-new 2018 Toyota Sequoia with me today. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. And hit the notification bell if you want to be updated. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.